Hi, I'm Stevie Fernandez.
And I'm Trish Whitmer. We're so happy to see you back with us for this week's Explore Tulsa. Now, Stevie, were you in the military?
No, I was 4-H.
Wait, you mean 4F? With medical issues that kept you from serving?
No, 4-H, a helpless, humdinger, hazardous half-wit.
Wow, that does explain a lot.
Hey.
For those who did serve, Broken Arrow is home to a very wonderful military history museum.
And a tribute to decades of sacrifice and remembrances to local heroes taking part in U.S. conflicts.
It started with the founder, whose name was Colonel Robert Powell, and he was a 35-year-old Air Force veteran, flew glider pilots in World War II, and he was a collector for his whole life. And then about 3 years ago, the city of Broken Arrow approached us with the idea of moving the museum to Broken Arrow and provided this building that you're standing in, which is a 6,400 square foot, the old Broken Arrow Hospital. You're actually in the operating room right now. The museum focuses on things with an Oklahoma aspect. Many of the artifacts, and there's over 2,000 artifacts, will have some association with an Oklahoma person. As I explain some of them, you'll see that. We're generally oriented chronologically starting in the Civil War, and we go all the way up through the modern war with emphasis on World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, the Cold War, and actually the modern war. Well, some of the things we'll see in the Civil War era, there are 2 replica uniforms. I used to tell people there are only 3 uniforms in the museum that weren't really worn by somebody, and I found out later that actually the Union and Confederate uniforms were worn by a man in Nowata at his wedding. So in actuality, we only have 1 uniform that is a replica. But you'll see some weapons, Civil War weapons, and most interesting, you'll find the coat, the actual cloak of a Union chaplain named Robert Merrill, and also his Bible. The World War I is which we're standing right now. Most interesting artifact it is a 1915-08 Maxim machine gun, which was one of the original machine guns of World War I. It was from a German patent, and it was a very dangerous and influential weapon in war. World War II, we have a lot of different and unique exhibits. Boots that the German soldiers wore made out of straw. When they invaded Russia, they got, they wore hobnail boots. They got cold like Napoleon's troops. They were forced to improvise. They saw Russian peasants wearing these straw overboots. So the German government actually constructed them and issued them to your soldiers, and we have a pair. I think there's only 2 other pairs in museums in the United States. We also have a camera that may or may not have been used by Hitler's photographers. We have a replica jacket of the B-3 jacket that George Patton wore. Like I said, we have quite a few really interesting World War II artifacts. Vietnam, we feature what's called a tiger cage, which is where the North Vietnamese or the Viet Cong would keep their American prisoners. And I think one of the most interesting displays in Vietnam is a display that we have on a soldier named Willard Parrish. Willard Parrish, if you saw the movie We Were Soldiers Once and Young with Hal Moore, Willard Parrish is mentioned in that book by General Moore as being one of the bravest soldiers that he has. And he won the Silver Star, was awarded the Silver Star. And he's the turnpike gate attendant at Bristow and a country and western singer, and he comes out when we have our Vietnam Day, which we invite everybody to come to, and he's really a unique individual. Then when we get into our modern era, we feature some articles from Camp Phoenix in Afghanistan. I was fortunate enough to be called active duty in 2003 and 2004 after 37 years in the National Guard and commanded the 45th Infantry Brigade, and our job was to train the Afghan National Army. And so you'll see quite a few artifacts that we brought back from Camp Phoenix in Afghanistan. What we really hope to do, and our current president of the board is Amy Fitchner, who was a former assistant superintendent for Broken Arrow Schools, is to inculcate students as they come through with the importance of the military and its reference to patriotism and the independence that we owe to the military. That's kind of what we hope to do. Now, in an ancillary side, we have about 80% of our visitors now are veterans. and they can come in and they actually get a visceral connection to the articles they see, and it brings back the memories, the camaraderie, the times they had, some good, some bad, but it's a catharsis for them to help them to come to grips with some of the feelings, and that's especially relevant as we found in our Vietnam and farther on. And in the future we're going to have outreaches and use the museum as a way to help assist veterans also.